How is he not disqualified off that?
It's outrageous. He already got one twice, at least once for poking. Keep his fingers close, the ref said. And he's nearly put me in the eye before. Feels like the back of my eyeball hurt.
Just sting him.
It's not even stinging now, it's painful.
Tom Aspinall was upset after the famous UFC 321 fight against Cyril Gane, saying his opponent should be disqualified for an unfair ending. His comments sparked major debate among fans about rules, fairness, and judging in the UFC. After the fight, Cyril Gane discussed how the match began and how his team prepared for his opponent's fast start. He mentioned they expected early pressure and focused on staying calm and sharp. Gane said their preparation helped him defend well and land clean shots, allowing him to control the pace right from the first round.
I think we started very well. I think he started very well, but I think I started very well because everybody knows his strategy every time he started very hard and surprise his opponent. I think we did very well. We defending a takedown. I touched him. We saw some blood on his nose. It was a really great first round.
After the controversy, Dana White addressed the situation during a post-fight interview. He was asked about Tom Aspinall's reaction and the possibility of forcing fighters to continue after an injury. Dana explained that while the UFC can organize matchups, it cannot control what happens once fighters are inside the cage or push them to continue if they're hurt.
Just like, I can't make people fight, right? If I want to put together a fight, I can't make people fight. And you definitely can't make somebody continue if they feel they've been injured. Only Tom knows what happened. Could he see? Couldn't he see? Could he continue? Only he knows that.
Following the heated UFC matchup, controversy broke out over an eye poke that affected Tom Aspinall's performance. His team argued that Cyril Gane had already been warned by the referee, but continued to keep his fingers open during exchanges. They felt this foul clearly changed the fight's momentum and should have resulted in a disqualification instead of just another warning.
How is he not disqualified off that?
It's outrageous. He already got one twice, at least once for poking.
Twice before he got one for it.
Keep his fingers close, the ref said. He nearly put me in the eye before. People start booing me like it's my fault.
Why are you booing?
He double poked in the eye, mate. Trained for 14 months. Didn't want someone's finger up the deep in my eye.
What's it going to take to change something so people don't get really injured by being poked in the eye? It's not a hard job, surely. Something needs doing about it.
That's outrageous, that.
Meanwhile, after the fight ended with an eye poke, MMA Guru shared his reaction on his channel. He said the foul looked painful and unfair to Tom Aspinall. Guru explained that when reporters asked about the incident, there wasn't much discussion about how serious the eye poke was. Instead, the focus quickly shifted to Cyril Gane's performance and how good he looked during the fight.
Anything about the eye poke here, it's tough. The eye poke was brutal. That looked like a disgusting eye poke that we saw there on Tom Aspinall. I'm not surprised. Anything along those lines would be good when asked what your thoughts on the eye poke stopping the fight were.
He looked damn good tonight.
Yeah, Cyril Gane looked damn good. And then we just move on. What are your thoughts on the eye poke and the way the fight ended and how it all went down? Yeah, I thought a lot. John Jones, listen, guys, John Jones, after his performance against Cyril Gane, a lot of people wrote him off, but he looked damn good tonight. Again, maybe we'll try one more time, but maybe we won't, and we'll just move on to another topic.
Continuing his review, MMA Guru pointed out that no one really answered the main question about the eye poke. He found it surprising that the post-fight talk ignored such a major moment. Guru said Dana White seemed to mishear the question and talked about other topics instead. He felt the fight was looking competitive before the eye poke ended it too soon.
But the initial question was his thoughts on the eye poke, okay? John Jones is just... the way he made Cyril Gane look, Gane looked damn good tonight. We got nothing but, yeah, it sucked. No mention of how brutal it was, about how Gane raked his eyes with his fingers. Nothing along those lines. Interesting stuff, but there's more to this.
What did you think about the fight on its way to the eye poke?
We didn't even get a response to the eye poke, but now we'll ask a question that Dana went ahead and answered anyway, because that's just how he heard that initial question.
What did you take from those 4 minutes?
Good. Looked like we were in for a few rounds, and it was going to be a good fight.
Meanwhile, Tom Aspinall spoke from the hospital, explaining what he felt in that painful moment. He said Cyril Gane's finger went deep into his eye, causing instant pain and blurred vision. Tom mentioned the referee had already warned Gane to keep his fingers closed, making the situation even more frustrating for him and his team.
He went near enough to go deep, mate. I can feel how deep it went now. He already got one twice, at least once, for poking. Keep his fingers closed, the ref said. And he's nearly put me in the eye before. Feels like the back of my eyeball hurt.
Just stinging.
It's not even stinging now, it's painful. It's like, it feels like my eye, someone's touched the back of my eyeball.
Can you see it, the one?
Not really, I can't have it.
Can you read what it says on them doors there?
No. So say you've got your eye socket like that.
As he continued describing the incident, Tom said the pain felt like someone had touched the back of his eyeball. He struggled to see clearly, even when asked to read signs in the hospital. Tom compared the injury to his past knee issue, saying this was much scarier because eye damage feels unpredictable and dangerous for a fighter's future.
And the eyeball sits in it there, like that. Yeah. Felt like his finger hit the back of the eye socket when he pushed it in. I just couldn't see.
It will go after 2 minutes. That's to relate with me.
Yeah, it just puts everything into perspective. Like, where we're going here, I can't see. Well, it's dangerous sport, man.
You were saying it's scarier than what you did to your leg.
It's way scarier than what I did to my knee, because you know that the knee's just going to be all right, whereas your eye, still don't know how it's going to be.
After the fight ended unexpectedly, Michael Bisping shared his thoughts on the incident during his post-fight analysis. He said it was an unfortunate way for the matchup to end, especially considering the build-up and pressure on both fighters. Bisping highlighted how emotional the moment was for Tom Aspinall, understanding his frustration after everything he had worked for leading up to the fight.
The eye poke, it was a bad eye poke, it really was. It was a double eye poke and it went really, really deep into his eyes. And Tom was clearly emotional, upset, and I get it, you know, there's been a lot of time waiting for this moment. You know, he had the whole fiasco with John Jones, he defended the interim belt and all that stuff, and then he gets back in the octagon eventually, and then that happens. First and foremost, I just hope he's okay. That's the main thing, and if he is okay, which I think he will be, maybe he's got a scratched cornea, maybe he'll be fine in a few days. But they got to run it back. They got to run it back ASAP.
Meanwhile, as the fight ended without a result, Cyril Gane's coach, Fernan Lopez, expressed his frustration and disappointment. He explained that Gane had prepared perfectly and everything was going according to plan before the eye poke. Lopez said the team felt helpless watching the fight stop that way, especially since Gane was confident and believed it was his moment to win.
As soon as possible. I mean, Cyril looked good there. Like, for us, everything was going as planned. Absolutely planned. And unfortunately, that's it. I mean, like,
yes, the fight game, right?
If you can see. If you can see, you can see. There's nothing we can do about it. But again, so disappointed. So disappointed. Like,
Cyril was very emotional whenever the fight was called off, no contest.
Because today, he knows that was his day. Today, he knew that he will out wrestling this guy. He knew that.
Coach, I hope we put this back together. It was very clear we're watching the two best heavyweights in the world. You guys did a great job of preparing them. Seems like you'll get another chance to do that.
Thank you, DC.
Meanwhile, after the fight was ruled a no contest, Dana White shared his thoughts on the matchup and future possibilities. He said the result was disappointing because both fighters had prepared hard for this moment. Dana explained that many people underestimated Cyril Gane after the John Jones fight, but his strong showing proved his skill and created real interest in a potential rematch.
Yes, I agree. I think that, I said earlier, because of the John Jones fight, I think everybody was sleeping on Cyril Gane and sort of wrote him off. And he's right behind me. He's coming in next, so you guys can ask him how he felt. But I feel like, you know, I'm sure in his camp, he was training like an animal for this fight. And it's unfortunate that it ended the way that it did. And yes, I think that there probably will be a lot more interest in the rematch after they saw, you know, I mean, he had Tom bloodied up. And, you know, Tom didn't want to continue in the fight, so the rematch is Very interesting.
Adding on, Chael Sonnen shared his thoughts on the controversial ending between Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane. He said Tom did nothing wrong and was clearly poked in both eyes, which stopped the fight. Chael mentioned he didn't think Gane did it on purpose, but still felt frustrated with how the situation unfolded and wanted accountability for the incident.
Tom did not do anything wrong. Tom was poked in the eye. As a matter of fact, he was poked in both eyes. Now, I don't believe Cyril did that on purpose. So, I also can't, or am not mad at Cyril, but I am mad. I'm looking for somebody to blame. But I don't quite know who to blame. Now, before we get to that, okay, there was a pretty interesting fight going on. The story going into this fight is Tom has the power to just go knock him out.
While continuing his analysis, Chael discussed how the fight was shaping up before the eye poke. He said the matchup was interesting because many believed Tom's power and wrestling could trouble Gane's kickboxing style. Sonnen added that Tom was the betting favorite, but even he admitted Gane was a serious challenge, calling him a dangerous and skilled heavyweight opponent.
We're not saying Tom's a better kickboxer. We get that Cyril did that for many years of his life. We get that Cyril had over 30 professional kickboxing bouts. But Tom, a little younger, a little bigger, shown to have a little bit better power if you just want to look at results, and has the ability to knock him out. However, if Tom tests that and doesn't knock him out, he'll just take him down and beat him up. I mean, this was the belief going in, guys. Tom was a 3.5 to 1 favorite. Tom told everybody that was willing to listen, I shouldn't be a 3.5 to 1 favorite. I don't overly like Cyril Gane, but I recognize how dangerous Cyril Gane is as an opponent, particularly with my style. Tom Kennedy said, he said, look, all the problems that I give, he has the same problems. I move well on my feet for a heavyweight. I'm strong on my feet for a heavyweight.
Furthermore, Wade Plemons reviewed the early action between Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane, saying both started strong, but Gane seemed slightly ahead. He praised Gane's movement and pressure, while noting Tom was just settling in after a long break. Wade said it wasn't a one-sided round, as Tom landed a few clean punches while finding his rhythm after nearly 2 years out.
Right? Cyril didn't overextend and give Tom the opportunity, so he shot anyway. Work that way. I'm hyping Cyril up here because I thought he did a really good job in this first round. I thought he was winning the first round. But again, this was not some dominant first round. Tom Aspinall not just had moments, he was feeling his way into this fight. He was getting himself back into the groove of his thing. Again, he's been out for freaking, 2 years? This is a terrible situation, more so for Tom Aspinall. When we get into the eye poke and everything else, this is way worse for him because he's been out for 2 years, gets 4 minutes in the cage.
Wade continued his breakdown, saying the situation was especially tough for Tom. After 2 years away, Tom finally got back into the cage, but the fight ended too soon. Wade said Tom needed cage time and experience, but the eye poke stopped that progress. He added that Tom still showed power and accuracy, landing solid right hands in the exchanges.
He's going to be out for another extended period, doesn't get a win, doesn't get the reps, doesn't get the experience that he is missing out on so badly, and you saw some of that, especially early in the fight. He was tagged, the head was on the center line, he wasn't able to make Cyril miss as much and make him pay, but he was able to, without making him miss, sometimes make him pay. He was able to sneak the right hand through. He caught Cyril with a couple good right hands upstairs. In fact, he was the more dominant puncher upstairs. The head strikes went to Tom Aspinall. As we take a look at the numbers, this is why I say it wasn't a dominant fight in the first round towards Cyril Gane. He was winning the first round in my opinion, but it wasn't some domination, bulldozing, look at Tom, he's a fraud type of thing. Cyril landed 3 more punches, or I should say strikes, than Tom Aspinall did in the first round.
In the final part of his analysis, Wade compared the striking stats from round 1, showing how close it really was. Gane landed slightly more total strikes, but Tom connected better to the head. Wade said both fighters were adjusting well, making it a technical battle. He explained that the fight was shaping up to be exciting before the eye poke suddenly ended it.
And the way it breaks down is Aspinall went to the head more, 14 of 25, Cyril was 8 of 16. To the body, Cyril was 9 of 11, Tom was 5 of 6, and to the legs, Tom was 8 of 8, and Cyril was 13 of 13. Again, a close first round that was showing the way this fight was probably going to play out was going to be a bit more technical, was going to be a bit more strategic, was going to have to be utilized in adjustments, and that's what you wanted to see from Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane. For Cyril, he had come off a stretch of, the not great performance versus Volkov, and, the John Jones performance, and he's dropped by Tai Tuivasa, and he comes off a close fight with Francis Ngannou. You wanted to see him get back to those, you know, dynamic ways when he was a bit younger. So both guys were having their moments. This was shaping up to be a good one, and then we get to the eye poke.
Following Wade Plemons' detailed breakdown of the first round and the eye poke, Luke Thomas gave his reaction to the Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane fight. He explained that the fight was stopped late in the first round and called it a disappointing outcome. Luke said the matchup made sense for both European fans and the UFC, but unfortunately, things ended too early.
Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane, there is no winner, because it ends in a no contest, due to accidental double eye poke. They called the fight off at 4:35 of round number 1. Now, we did see a few things in the fight itself that I thought were pretty interesting. I will talk about them, but of course, we can't get to that yet, can we? Because we have to talk about what a disaster this was. Now, let's be clear about this. This is not on, well, okay, as it pertains to just tonight, this is not on UFC. They booked Aspinall. We all wanted him back. Again, there's a question about whether Gane had defeated Volkov prior to this. That was very questionable, but he got his hand raised. They wanted to put this one together. It made sense for a European audience. You have a French audience.
Luke continued by saying the situation was frustrating for everyone involved. He mentioned that the UFC did nothing wrong. They built a strong main event that fans wanted to see. Luke said it was simply bad luck and an unfortunate ending. Before diving into details, he explained that getting angry wouldn't help, calling it a tough moment for the sport.
You have a British audience. Of course, it's a worldwide audience, but, you know, a French guy, a British guy. It makes sense that they would put it in that sort of the Middle Eastern time zone. You know, this was a title fight that was a title defense at heavyweight, which hadn't happened in some years. They did what they could. This is terrible. This is terrible. Okay, let me say one thing up front before we talk about the individual actors here. I'm not going to get up here and rail with fire and brimstone, because I don't think that would be helpful.
The Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane fight left fans frustrated and divided. An eye poke ended the bout in a no contest, but both fighters displayed skill and determination. Tom's team felt justice wasn't served, while Gane's camp was disappointed by the sudden stop. UFC now faces pressure to arrange a rematch, as fans want a clear winner. This fight highlighted the intensity of the heavyweight division and left everyone eager for the next showdown. What do you think Cyril Gane should have been disqualified for the eye poke, or was the no contest ruling fair? Share your thoughts in the comments below.